Hello, my name is KellyMcCart, and this is my assignment for week 3 on revamping a lesson in instructional strategy. So the project that I am choosing to talk to you about today and revamp is an art lesson I do on non-objective painting. In the past, I have just simply introduced what non-objective art is, given a little bit of historical background, and then we go right into drawing directly onto our good copy, giving students just 2 choices in line and circle. However, this project doesn't involve like a lot of discussion with students and nor a lot of sketching and brainstorming, and that is part of my goals from week 1. So what I'm going to do to introduce this lesson is do some things the same, but then release some responsibility to students to discover by just making themselves. So I'll continue to introduce to my students what non-objective art is. We have a discussion between how non-objective art is not quite exactly like abstraction, for example, in Cubism, which they're a little bit familiar with. We're going to talk about a contemporary artist, Andrew Small, who's a professor at Lincoln University in Chester County in Pennsylvania. And he is eventually coming to actually my school to come and talk to students about creating large canvas paintings that we're going to tie in together with our non-objective art. Students are going to then create with me for some painting practice a color mixing chart. So we're going to review some painting expectations on how to clean our brush, how to mix paint. And this is something I created in my watercolor course from AOEU. And now I'm getting into what's different. So I created an instructional aid thinking about from week 2 that is going to require my students, before they do their good copy, to create mini masterpieces, almost like a watercolor trading card, using some restraints. Just line, just circle, line and circle, and then one with just 2 colors. And I hope by doing this, I'm releasing some of that responsibility to my students so it becomes more student practice and collaborative, because then we're going to discuss and critique, like arranging them by which ones are more successful or not, before we get into our good copy, and then eventually the ultimate sort of chef's kiss at the end, creating these large canvas paintings collaboratively. So now I'm going to show you my demonstration on what I will be explaining to my students on how to create their mini pieces. Well, 6th graders, today we are going to create some mini masterpieces as a practice for your non-objective painting. First, you'll need to gather your supplies, and using your classroom handout, I want you to label 4 pieces of watercolor paper. I want you to label them line only, circle only, line and circle, and 2 colors only. Include your teacher and your name. On each mini masterpiece, there are 4. You are to create a mini non-objective work of art using only those constraints. So in my small painting here, I am only using line. And I hope this challenges you and gets you to engage your brain, artist, begin to think about what a non-objective painting can look like. For some students, it's really difficult to not turn it into anything. So avoid what I call the lucky charms of the art room: stars, moons, hearts, horseshoes, peace signs, yin-yangs. You're only focusing on those constraints. So in this one here, I'm only using circle and half circles to create my mini masterpiece for my non-objective painting. I'm following correct brush techniques: circle, circle, circle in the water. My ballerina brush is always on her tippy toes. In this one, I am using now all of my techniques. I can use line and circle to create a mini masterpiece. To create my circles, I don't need to draw anything. I'm just working my brush from the center coming outward, and now I'm coming in and adding my line. All of these will look different. They are all small experimentations, students, so that you can begin to draw conclusions about what you can do for your final piece. My last one asked that I only use 2 colors. So here I'm choosing to use a black, and I'm going to use a red to create a point of emphasis on my mini masterpiece. So you're creating 4 small works of art: line, circle, line and circle, and one just using 2 colors to create your small mini masterpieces for practice for your non-objective painting. Let's give this a try, students. Good luck. So with the creation of these mini masterpieces, my last step before we go into our good copy would be to have a class discussion, maybe with their tables, about how to arrange these artworks by which ones are most successful. I call this a See, Think, Wonder, where I'd have students collect all of their mini masterpieces that we did, arrange them on the table by ones that they think are most successful or least successful, and describe to me what they see, how they're observing, like which ones do you think are better, why you think that, what are your thoughts about that work of art, and then wonder is what other questions do you have for me? And that will be a good transition point into, I hope, then making better choices about their large final copy in their non-objective artwork. I'm hoping that this revamps my lesson and gives students some more choice in creating judgments about their own artwork. I would call this moving from more teacher-guided practice, where they're copying what I do on the board, to more student discussion and practice, because they are discussing with each other at their table, they're critiquing each other's artwork, they're drawing conclusions about what's going to make their non-objective painting more successful. And finally, transformational, because we are building again up to creating our final piece. We're taking more time to discuss, to brainstorm, more exposure to what this art form looks like, so that our masterpieces are successful for transmitting to our canvas, which I'd like to do probably in an assignment that you're going to see in the future later in this class, as I'm working out what that's going to look like kind of up here first. So thank you for paying attention to my demonstration. As always, your feedback is appreciated. And thank you for guiding me through this lesson.